Warning, this video isn't for anyone under the age of 16. If you're under 16 years old, please leave the video now because we do get into some adult type shit. Thank you. Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is your boy CharlesISanimeWorld, and welcome to my review of Redo Healer Episode 6. Now, what I do on my channel is that I showcase off the differences between the episode and the manga, so you guys don't have to go back and read it for yourselves. So let's get into this review of Redo Healer Episode 6. Now, the anime has been great. Now, I'm talking about the uncensored version, and all the way up to Episode 6, the anime has actually been better than the manga. I know that's a rare occasion, but it is. But we get to Episode 6, and this is the first time, the halfway point of the season, because I believe Redo Healer is only going to be like 12 episodes long. This is the first time that I can say that you guys need to go back and read the manga for this episode. Now, don't get me wrong, the episode was great and they did a really good job, but there was a lot changed and a lot left out of this week's episode of Redo Healer. So I'm here to discuss that with you guys, so let's get started. Now, this episode takes place between chapters 12.2 all the way through chapters 15.1. So in total, this episode covers 7 chapters. That's a lot. And you guys can understand how a lot of material was left out. Okay, so the first big difference is in the manga when Korea is feeding Kaoru, like at the very beginning of this episode in the anime, but in the manga, Setsuna gets jealous and pats Kaoru on the head. That's the first big difference. They cut that out completely from the anime. And again, that's not really that big of a difference, but it's something that happened. The second big difference is to lure out Kaoru. In the anime, the kingdom is willing to give people a prize for information, okay? But in the manga, they take one person from Kaoru's village and they put him on a cross. Now, obviously, for obvious reasons, I can understand why the anime decided, you know what? We're not going to get a white guy and put him up on a cross in the middle of town. You know, it might get a little too biblical in this bitch, you know. So they opted out not to do that. Instead, the kingdom said they're willing to give a prize for information. Okay, so that's another big difference. This is another reason why I said you guys really should read the manga this week for this week's episode. Okay, the next big difference is the way that Korea and Kaoru kiss. In the anime, it's way more passionate. I'm talking about spit, tongue, all that. But in the manga, it's just a peck on the cheek. It's more innocent in the manga. So that's a big difference right there. Now let's talk about the next big difference. The captain of the Imperial Knights, Leonard, okay, in the manga, he finds out that Freya is still alive by torturing a guy for information and putting both thumbs in the guy's eyes, blinding him. Okay? That's the big difference right there. That's how he found out that Freya was still alive. The next big difference is in the manga, is how Kaoru lured Leonard and his troops to the house was different. The ending was still the same, but it was different. There was no friend. Like in the anime, they had like this friend say, "Hey buddy, remember me? Oh yeah, we were best friends, and they talk about what they did to the people in Kaoru's village, but that never happened in the manga. What happened in the manga was simply that Kaoru pretended to be a deserter and wanted back into the army. But the way it happened was that he just like stumbled out and a guard just picked him up and said, "We have a deserter right here." And then he said, "I know where they're at." And then he led them to the house. This is the reason. This is the biggest change that the anime made to the manga. This is the reason, one of the big ones, why I say you guys really need to read the manga this week. And it involves Anna. Okay? In the manga, Anna is dead after Leonard goes to the village and pillages the village. You guys know what I'm talking about. I have to word it differently because this is YouTube. She bites off her tongue during the deed with the soldiers. She bites off her tongue, killing herself. That's it right then and there. So in the anime, 3 minutes in, imagine how surprised I was to see that she was chained up and still alive. Now, I'm thinking to myself, why did they do this? But we're going to talk about that a little bit later on within this review. Okay. Another big difference is that, and I can't even show this on YouTube. I can't even show it on YouTube. They took out my favorite panel of the throbbing member panel that Leonardo's soldier had after he was drugged up by Kiaru. I can't even show it on YouTube. That's another good reason why you guys should read the manga for this week's episode. There was this one panel, and like when the soldier had just finished getting drugged up, his armor was coming out, and he looked at the female version of Leonard, and then he says something, and you can see that something is pulsating and throbbing. That's how I'm going to say that, okay? But again, you definitely want to check out the manga. And you once you see the panel, you're going to be like, I know exactly what Charles was talking about now, okay? Another big difference is in the manga, Leonard asks Kiaro if he has a shred of humanity left after the soldiers start, getting closer to the female version of Leonard. He looks at him and says, begs for mercy. Please help me. Please help me. And he says, Kiaru, don't you have a shred of humanity left? And then Kiaru looks at him and says, nope. Nope. And I swear to you, that was like one of my favorite panels, and they completely left it out of the anime this week. Okay. Now, at 11 minutes and 3 seconds in, Anna's death was anime only. Like I just said previously, that she died when the soldiers initially invaded the village. She bit off her tongue. So I guess what the anime was trying to do was trying to give Anne or Anna, whatever, and this closure, seeing that Kiaru's face was okay, seeing that okay, the guy that did the deed wasn't Kiaru, so gave her some closure. So all that was anime only, okay? Now we have to talk about another big difference, and that's John's appearance. It's very different in the manga and in the anime. In the anime, he appears to be like this white guy that's really into getting stumped on, and he has like red hair. In the manga, you know, he appears to be this buff black guy that's chained up. Now, obviously, I can understand with everything that's going on with politics today, why the anime would be kind of hesitant to show that and want to change him around. I mean, having a black guy chained up, I can understand where they were coming in. Like we're go wild, but I think we should change that up just a little bit, okay? Now, the last big thing that I have to say that the anime did great that was never in the manga is that Freya's sister, Norn, um, taking a whiz in Kiaru's mouth was anime only. And the dude is so lucky. Personally speaking, I mean, the little sister, he got to, never mind. I'm not gonna go too deep. This is YouTube, but I will say, I mean, it wasn't all bad for Kiaru. I'm just saying. I'm just saying it wasn't all bad for Kiaru. Okay, but hey, that'll do it, guys. Thank you so much. That's been the differences between the anime and the manga this week for Redo Healer. I highly encourage you guys to read the manga for this week's episode. Again, there was a lot of things that were changed. Although I did cover all of them, there were certain panels that I still can't show on YouTube because some snowflake or somebody might get upset, and you know how that goes. But hey, that'll do it. Thank you guys so much. I will see you guys next week, and hey, sayonara, suckers.